Saturday Night dead. In the 80s, particularly the middle 80s, Saturday Night Live was almost at its death's door. It was so bad that Madonna came on the opening episode of the 1986 season and read a statement on behalf of NBC apologizing for what had been such a crummy season the year before.
It was all a dream, a horrible, horrible dream.
The 1986 season would start a new golden era in the show's history. The cast includes John Lovitz, Dana Carvey, and of course, a 38-year-old newcomer, Phil Hartman.
That cast, still my favorite cast that was ever on Saturday Night Live.
If you were to see the DVD, Saturday Night Live, The Best of Phil Hartman, you would see this incredible range of characters that he played.
Hi, I'm Johnny Cash, and I'm a gratefully recovering alcoholic and drug addict.
Phil had a lot of great talents. He had a terrific voice, and there's almost nothing you could ask him to do that he couldn't do.
He does a fantastic Frank Sinatra.
You don't scare me. I got chunks of guys like you in my stool.
Televangelist Jim Baker.
And we need their emotional and financial support now more than ever.
Ed McMahon.
You are correct, sir, yes!
Frozen caveman lawyer. That was his own character.
Your world frightens and confuses me.
And he even goes on to play Jesus.
Hello, my son.
Hi there. And you are?
He was extremely versatile and never a false note.
Hello, little girl. What's your name?
That sketch where you find out that Reagan, like in front of the cameras or in front of public, he was like just kind of the folksy old, like, well, you know, and he would really play it up.
And then the kids would be taken out, and he'd turn like that to be the mastermind of evil.
Back to work!
It was so funny because Phil's characters switched on the dime.
Phil loved being on SNL. He appreciated how important it was and how lucky it was that he got there against all odds. He loved it.
Julia Sweeney became known for her character, Pat, but she also was known for being frequently paired up with Phil Hartman.
I did play Phil's wife many, many times, but Jan Hooks played his wife more times than me, and I felt jealous of that because I wanted to be Phil's wife.
But in real life, the lucky woman who does become his third wife is Brynn Omdahl, who marries Phil in the fall of 1987.
Phil got married in New York. They just had a very small ceremony. No family was there, and that's what they wanted, just a small wedding. Since they'd both been married before.
While Phil was at SNL, Brynn made some friends among the writers and cast members on the show, including Julia Sweeney, who was a cast member.
Brynn came to SNL, maybe not every single week, but a lot. She didn't go somewhere to fade into the background. She wore bright red clothes. Her legs, she showed as much of her legs as she could.
She would come in and visit in the writer's room, and she would kind of flirt with the guys in the room and sit on their laps and, you know, play with their hair and their ears. And Phil was right there, and I thought, well, that's kind of odd. But, you know, he didn't seem bothered by it. What he would say was, how does a chubby guy like me have somebody like her on my arm? So he was very proud of her.
Work? I'm doing all the work.
In one of the home videos, we see Brynn acting. She's playing in some kind of skit, acting as a model.
It's a nice living. I get to travel all over.
Brynn would tell me that she had wanted to be an actress.
With Phil on SNL, Brynn apparently saw an opportunity to get some screen time.
It's Saturday Night Live!
When they shot the opening for Saturday Night Live and they introduced Phil, you see Phil full face at a diner, and there's a blonde woman sitting across from him. That's Brynn, the back of her head. She tried to turn her head and get her face on camera, and the director said, no, just look at Phil. So that's why her earring is dancing back and forth.
Phil Hartman.
You know, it was as much as she got onto that show.
Live from West Hollywood, it's Baby Shower, starring Brendan Hartman and Baby Boy Hartman.
At the end of Phil's second season on Saturday Night Live, he and Brynn welcomed their first child.
Sean is born in 1988, and Phil loves being a father. He just takes to fatherhood right away.
Hey, Sean, look. You're on TV!
He calls me and says, I just became a father. And so I wrote a card. You know, dear Phil and Brynn, you know, much love from Aunt Lisa. You know, if you ever need a babysitter, I'm so thrilled for you. And I got back a letter that was hair curling, fury. rage and death threat from Brynn. The gist of it was, don't ever get near me or my family or I will hurt you. I never want to hear from you. Do not be in touch with Phil. Do not be in touch with me. Never, ever, ever come near us or you will really be sorry. Yeah. And it was 2 pages. Completely and utterly shocking. So I called him and he said, you should have seen the letter she wanted to send you. He said, she's very intense. And I didn't speak to him or see him for many years after that.
By this point in his career, Phil and Brynn are bi-coastal. He has an apartment in New York for when Saturday Night Live is filming.
Hi, Daddy.
They also have a 4,000 square foot house, a mansion really, in Encino, which is part of Los Angeles.
This is the entrance to the room. This is a family room. Hi. Here's my sink. 2 mirrors, because of my split personality. And the hallway to the master bedroom. Almost as big as our old house. And this bar area. Not much in the way of drinkers, but we love it anyway. And so pretty much, this is what our dream house is all about.
By 1989, Phil is on top of the world professionally and personally. He wins an Emmy Award as being part of the writing team for Saturday Night Live.
After Phil was at SNL for a few years, the show started adding younger cast members, including David Spade and Adam Sandler, Chris Farley, and they were much sillier, much more physical.
There's you there!
Phil was very ambitious, but he was often the person who wasn't getting the laughs. He was the straight man. You know, we called him the glue.
Chris Farley actually talks about that with Phil on CNBC.
Phil Hartman, the glue. We call Phil the glue because he holds the show together. Without the glue, there's trouble.
What changed the game for Phil Hartman at that time was the arrival of a politician named Bill Clinton.
Nice to see you. Phil's most famous scene on SNL to this day is when he plays Bill Clinton wandering into a McDonald's with his 2 Secret Service bodyguards after a morning run.
Please, don't tell Mrs. Clinton. Jim, let me tell you something. There's going to be a whole bunch of things we don't tell Mrs. Clinton.
After that sketch, Phil was on the map at SNL like never before.
Also, he looked forward to earning money on the side as Clinton.
Are you there, Mr. President?
Hartman's Clinton is so popular that he actually is interviewed as the president by Jay Leno on The Tonight Show.
Well, you know my motto, Jay. If you got the republic, I got the banana.
Phil is riding high. He's beloved by his castmates, he's beloved by the public, the viewers. He's become a bona fide star, but things are rocky at home.
He just said, I just got to pretend to be asleep or we'll be fighting all night long. And I said, oh, Phil, I feel so bad. You know, everything seems so perfect. And he goes, yeah, but no one knows behind closed doors.